want to, but it's like you're learning along the way. And I think that's what I want everybody to hear is you got to start, which is what you said.
Yeah.
And then B, you're going to figure out along the way.
Fail publicly. Like don't fail in the shadows and behind the scenes and not want to post it and all these things. Fail publicly and then dig yourself out of that.
Ready?
Ready.
Let's do it.
Come on.
All right. T.S., thank you for being here today. Seriously, this is awesome. I'm super excited to dive into our conversation. And I just love that you're really passionate about giving back and mentorship and being an artist here in Spokane. And I think your story is fabulous. So can you please tell the audience like what your background is?
Yeah. My background. Where do I start?
Yesterday.
Right. Well, yesterday I had a cup of coffee. No, I'm just playing. I'm definitely a coffee fiend. I need coffee. But my background is born in California, raised in the Seattle-Tacoma area. Kent, went to all the high schools in Kent. Bad kid that followed for most of his life when I was born to be a leader. And had twins, moved to the eastern part of Washington, and came out here to figure out life. I came out before I got to Spokane. I got let go of my job in Moses Lake, and I went to the audio engineering program at the Falls.
Okay.
And graduated that. Got my business management at the Falls.
This is Spokane Falls.
Spokane Falls Community College. Yeah. And opened up a studio and just wanted to create what I envisioned in my head from the jump. And this is a great place to do it.
Well, is that because the market's not saturated here, or is it because just like there's so much desire for, let's say, hip hop music or new artists or new talent?
There's a lot of room to do anything, to throw things at the wall, and if it not work, you can still live. You can still like comfortably live out here through failure, which I have a handful of those under my belt. Out here trying to get more.
Well, you mentioned that because, like in Seattle, if you might have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to be able to pay your rent or to make your mortgage payment, and especially if you have twins, right? And your priority is taking care of them, right?
Yeah. On top of it being saturated out there, there's everything out there. Like it's pretty tough to come up with new ideals without being immersed in the community out there.
Sure.
So for example, I came out here, my homeboy LQ came out here, and LQ's from Tacoma. And when he came out here, he went to barber school, he worked in a barbershop, and then immediately opened his own barbershop.
Wow, okay.
And so he's able to do all these things and whatnot. If it fails, you still have options to live in Spokane and be comfortable. But he's thriving because there's so much room for new almost anything out here. It's not oversaturated. It's the second biggest city in the state. But it's not oversaturated. And Spokane is still working on what its identity is. And I recently learned that.
Okay.
And I think that's what creates the ability to just try stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and the cost of living is obviously less here, right?
Yeah. Huge
and would you also say that your friend LQ is actually thriving because of the community? Like there's a lot of backing behind the community, and it's like when you do try new things, like is that part of the reason that it's easier to succeed here?
I don't think so. I think it's more so people are there. You can be a new person here and like at school, right? When you went to school and you were the new person, you're exotic. We don't know you, like, but we want to get to know you. You come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's that out here. So
Oh, wow.
you kind of get the new kid syndrome. And when people see something new, I mean, maybe it is like, oh, it's something new as a community, let's get behind it. But
Sure.
it's more so like it's something new. Let's see what's going on, who this person is. Let's get to know this person. That type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then let's go to you. You came in from Moses Lake.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
moved over and you started your whole company and your business. So how easy was that for you to do?
To be honest, fairly easy.
I love that because I want the audience to hear that you
Yeah.
can't complain about
Yeah.
things because you just moved to Spokane, life will be easy. All right.
Yeah, like it was fairly easy because when I first got here, I did nothing for a year. I just sat back, watched people who doing what, like didn't do anything. I didn't put my neck out there and make it seem like I'm the new guy and I'm the king. But after that year, and I realized what was going on, who was who, I did come out like I am the king. And that new kid mentality, like who's this guy I think he is? Like, let's check him out. But I can back up my words, and it's like, oh no, he's really about music. He can make good music. And then next thing you know, I'm doing the shows and have my own space to record, and I'm inviting people over, and I realize what people are not doing that will make me successful. And it's what you were saying. A lot of people were not building community. They were just doing their thing, expecting everybody to show up without providing value in return. It's, oh, I'm doing this, you should support me. And it's like, no, we shouldn't, because you're not doing anything for our community. That's extractive.
Sure.
So there's a lot of extractive practices that I seen when I kind of first got here. And I was like, that's not me as a person anyway. How do I position myself to give back authentically, still be me, because I want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
How can I do that in a way where it's not extractive and I can give back value?
Well, not only that, but it's like you also are, there's more than one hip hop artist. There's more than one artist. There's so much to be able to give. It's not like you're the only person and this competition is not eating each other up. When you say that you came in and you were like, oh, it was kind of easy, and I sat back and I kind of watched. You already had a foundation, though. I mean, were you always good at music? Did people tell you like, oh, you have a great voice, or how can you rhyme like this? Like, because I sound like Happy Feet when I sing. So my kids will never let me sing out loud. But it like you had a foundation, but did that give you kind of the confidence and say, I can do this?
Absolutely. I was doing music on the West Side. So I was doing like shows and stuff in bars before I was supposed to be in the bars. Like supposed to be 21. Like we were like 19, 20 going into bars and doing shows. And yeah, when I would do these things, I look young, and I'm talking about like life, but metaphors and similes, and like I want a reaction to, oh, what did he just say? Like, that. And I was getting that, and I was building my confidence. So by the time I got out here, I was extremely confident in myself, throughout or because of all the things that I did in the past.
Do you know the story of the Beatles, like how they got all of their repetitions in? They had like the 10,000 hours in the Reeperbahn in Germany, and it was like they had been on stage so many times that when they came to the U.S., they were just like the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
Because they had so much practice.
Yeah, like you can't, you can't tell me nothing, because I've been to the shows where 2 people show up. I've been to the shows when there's 20 people show up. I've been to the shows where they're mean mugging me and don't like me. I've been to the shows where I get round of applause. We've been through everything. It's like there's nothing you can tell. That's why we walk with confidence, chest out, chin up. Because what's the alternative? I'm gonna just be shy and all. Like, no, I know who I am, and I'm very confident in that.
You had mentioned, not just to go back, is that you had mentioned that you came and there was so much that you saw problems with other artists, let's say,
Yep.
and you were learning from their mistakes,
Yep.
right? And you're like, Spokane is missing this.
Yep.
Spokane could benefit from this, or I see value being able to hear. What gave you the drive to be like, I can fill that void. I can solve that problem, because that's in any industry, whether you're in a service or you have a product. It's like, if you can find a problem and you have the solution, I mean, it opens the door. So it sounds to me like you kind of subconsciously just realize that.
Yeah. Well, my name is T.S The Solution, and TS is who I am. The solution is who I want to be. So when I came out here, almost the first thing I do is try to look at what the problem is and be the solution to that. Luckily, the problem out here was something I already envisioned for myself anyway. So that's divine alignment right there, right? I always wanted a studio space that had multiple rooms in it, that had community in it, right? Because music is not a one-man band at all whatsoever. It takes a community to make really good music. Like music you can feel, it takes more than one voice. So I wanted that space, and everything I tried was working somehow, some way. There was problems along the way for sure, but it just lined up to where my goals and my vision for myself was the issues and the void that was missing out here.
Did you write your goals down? Like, did you have a storyboard? Did you have a list of something like that? Is that what you did?
Absolutely. I got big into reading. I was never a good reader in school. I wasn't a good student in school, so I had a lot of making up to do. But I realized how important reading and books were. So every like quote unquote self-help book, I don't like that word, first of all, self-help.
You won't like my book.
It's a self-help book?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you got to watch out for Blue. But every self-help book I read said the same thing. And it was all write it down. Write your goals down. It's not real until you write it down. And I'm an artist and I'm a writer. So it's like, I think I be able to do that.
In a way, it was just telling you in a different way. Sure.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm also a visual learner. So if I do write it down, it can't just be a piece of paper. I have like 3-4 marker boards like plastered all over my house.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I have to see it. It has to be big. It has to be colorful. It's just something that catches my eye, and I remember it. Like, oh, don't forget that, or remember if it has nothing to do with this goal, that's circled on the board. It's not for you right now.
Do you ever use your phone and put your notes down, or you think of a line, or you think of like some lyric that you're like, that sounded great, I have to apply that later in another song or something? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll put it on a song that I'm already working on, press enter a couple times, and just pop it in there down at the bottom.
Oh, does AI help you at all, or no?
No. I wish.
Okay.
I low key. First of all,
That's
I love
a solution
AI.
right there.
I love
feel
AI.
one. Okay.
Yeah. I'm pro AI.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people scared of AI, but again, it goes back to that confidence.
Sure.
And like AI still cannot do what most of us can do.
Well, you have a talent, right? And
Yeah.
it's never going to take over a talent that somebody doesn't have.
Right.
I do want to go back to where I don't want to knock on people who are like, oh, well, then let's just move to Spokane and everything will be fine, right? Because I don't care, even if you're in Spokane, taking chances of starting a business and wanting to grow and scale, it can be scary, so scary and so fearful that you don't ever start it.
Yeah.
And so you had a confidence about you, were like, you had this dream of starting your own studio, because everybody wants, I want to have an auto shop. Okay, well, I want 15 bays, and I want to have an office executive, and I want to have, well, yeah, but you got to start off with like the 1 bay, right? With let's take all my friends' cars.
Yeah.
So you can't all start off with a giant Les Schwab building.
Right.
But you had these dreams and these aspirations. Like, how scary was it for you to get a building, tell me about that process. How was that?
This is the scariest thing in my life. Hold on.
Do you need another coffee shot?
That was scary. Yeah, I might actually have to take another sip.
Okay.
So I did what you just said. I started really small. Like the first space that I rented out was like 100 square feet.
Okay.
And I have a background in carpentry. So I built my own desk. I built my own booth, vocal booth, bought some supplies and stuff, built my own sound panels.
Yeah.
Very small, very like DIY up.
Yeah.
And then I grew from there. So it got to the point where I went out to buy a freestanding, or not buy, rent out a freestanding building, heart racing. I'm second guessing. I'm talking to my wife like, I don't know, should I do it? I like start the paperwork, stop it. I thought
Terrifying.
Terrified. But again, I started to ask myself, like, why am I freaked out? Like, why am I shaking? It's just a piece of paper. It's just ink. It's just materials made out of it. I had to simplify everything down to its core to calm me down. But it was terrifying. I don't take anything lightly. It was easy to start for me because I'm the starter. I'm always gonna start something. Like, why not? Let's try it. Like, the few folks that I have around me a lot know that. Like, sure, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. And then now we're talking about scaling. Now we're talking about automation. Now we're talking about streamlining. Now we're talking about all the business jargon. That's a completely different story.
And you can't do all that by yourself.
Absolutely not.
Or at least not well. Right?
Yeah. It's not, I wouldn't recommend it at all.
But that ties into what I wanted to dive in with you also, is that you have mentioned that especially the younger kids now coming up and wanting to get into music or anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, to have a team behind you
Yeah.
really does, it's that support or that confidence team that you might need. And is that the point that you kind of realize it? Like, you have been doing it all yourself, but you had the support of your wife, right?
Yeah.
And you might have some friends, plus you knew a couple people here in the Spokane area, but it's like, when was it that you realized, like, I cannot do it all alone. I can't succeed all alone. And how much I can leverage other people and utilize that community, that collaboration, and that teamwork.
Yeah, I always knew I couldn't do it alone.
Okay.
Like, from the jump. My thing is, again, I'm a starter. It has to be done. So I'll do it until it gets to the point where, like, I'm terrible at asking. I've always been terrible at asking for help. I'm not. I'm still trying to figure it out. Kai is my witness. I'm navigating. Hey, can you help me with this? I need help. What I do is, what do I need done, and do it, and figure out how to do it, and put it out there. Hey, this is what I'm doing. What do y'all think? Like, I love getting feedback for what I'm already doing, and then sometimes it gets to the point where, excuse me, and sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, hey man, you're doing a lot. Do you need help? And it's like,
other people say that to you.
Yeah.
Your teammates, your friends, your team. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of that is, you have to start. I'll tell that to anybody. I'll recommend that to anybody. And I do. Some of my closest friends want to do podcasts. They want to do video stuff. And it's like, well, do it, because it's kind of tough to tell somebody what you need done and you have no idea. You're expecting these people to come to you and do incredible work when you yourself don't know what that process is or what that looks like or feels like. It's not reality. So I'll dive in head first and see, hey, how does this work? And I got a camera. I'm not a camera person, and I'll never. That's just not my thing. That's not where I shine. But I'll start it. I'll get it going and figure it out.
Well, but you're never going to know if you're good at it unless you try it.
Exactly.
And you're never going to know if you're going to fail at it unless you try and it fails, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, even as you're failing at some of these things and you realizing, like, you're not good enough at this, you're learning along the way. And right? And you're learning what you can do well, what you can't do well. You're learning that you can't ask for something very well. So does that mean that you need to bring somebody onto your team that is a better asker, right? Or a better pitcher or something like that. And so you're learning, even though you're not, let's say, scaling at the level that you would want to, but it's like you're learning along the way. And I think that's what I want everybody to hear is, you, A, got to start, which is what you said.
Yeah.
And then B, you're going to figure out along the way.
Fail publicly. Like, don't fail in the shadows and behind the scenes and not want to post it and all these things. Fail publicly and then dig yourself out of that. Like, I'm looking to fail. There's no, I don't know what I'm doing at all. I've never lived a life. I don't know what this is, right? And you know what? I learned that raising kids.
Oh, yeah.
They have no idea what they're doing. And guess what? Your dad has no idea what he's doing either. So we're going to figure this out.
You now have a sense of like the responsibility and the sacrifice that my parents made. I had no clue when I was growing up. And when I was a teenager, I was so mean to my mom and I hated my dad. And it was just like, I had no idea what they went through. And they gave me a great life. Like they absolutely tried their best. And they were learning along the way. Like, and it was a funny story. When we had our daughter, my wife would change her really quickly with the clothes, like throw her arm through, and I was like, oh, you're gonna hurt that child, like, oh, you're gonna break them, are they? But she's like, no, they're malleable, and it was like, oh my goodness, like, are you gonna hurt them? Like, can you return them after that, right? I had no idea. And then like changing diapers, I had no clue. I never babysat when I was a kid. But then as you do it, now we have our son, and it's just like throw his arm in there, and he can do the splits right now.
All that,
you're learning along the way.
You're learning along the way, and I had to humanize my parents because, again, I don't know, but I'm looking at y'all like you have to know everything about this world. You've been navigating it for however long, and it's like, you know, my parents were my first superheroes.
Love that.
So get to a certain age, and you start to see certain things out of your parents, and you realize, oh, they're human. Oh, they make mistakes. Oh, they have no idea. Oh, they went through conditioning, programming, all the things. This makes sense, right? And so, I had to go through that whole thing.
Whole new perspective on life. Absolutely.
On life. And a lot of it is being a father.
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more on that one, in all seriousness.
Yeah.
When you're teaching your kids now, do you try to, I guess, shape them and teach them through your lessons? Say, mom and dad don't have all the answers because we're learning the same. Like, how do you talk to them?
Yeah, I've always talked to my kids like adults.
Okay.
I've always, since they were bitty babies, like I was never a goo goo gaga parent. Never. I was always just straight up forward with them until this day. They're 12. They're navigating middle school. The drama, she likes him, all that. I'm dealing with all that, but I'm also dealing with athleticism. I'm dealing with my son wants to be a paleontologist. I had no idea what that was before he said it.
This is not a dinosaur.
Hey,
as I'm pointing my hat at.
You couldn't tell me different.
Okay.
I would think it's some kind of source.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to talk to them in a way that will always make sense to them. Yes, I'm raising kids, but at the end of it all, I'm raising human beings. They're going to grow up to be my age. So I'm just going to talk to them like, hey, this is what's going on. Your parents are super busy every summer. We own a candy brand. Your dad's a recording artist and a performing artist. And we also have jobs. Like, we're all really busy. And then my kids have after school programs, this and that. So if dad's running late, they got phones. Hey, I'm a little late. Meet me here. I talk to them like I would talk to my homeboy, or how I would talk to one of my cousins that are my age.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's mad important.
Do you, I mean, it's like our kids sit with us at the table. There's no like kids table for Thanksgiving. It's like, come and enjoy. And if you want to talk, you don't have to be silent. Like, join the conversation.
Yeah.
It's
that's
so
a big
important.
One. So important, because I'm dealing with the ramifications of going through that, of being isolated from the adults, right? If you isolate me from the adults, how am I to learn from y'all if we can't see it? Now we're guessing. It reminds me of when people say, oh, once you're 18, you're out. It's like, that's fine, but if you don't teach me how to navigate
you're
this
at
world,
0 at 18.
I am screwed.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a wrap. So we try to have our kids around all the time. Like, again, we
have them at the office. I mean, you have them at your studio.
We have them at the studio. They're on KSPS PBS with me. You know what I mean? Like, they're at the markets with the wife. They're at the commercial kitchen. We had a food trailer. They're in the food trailer. They're everywhere with us. You know, they know exactly what's going on, just like we do, and they help us. I'm not raising no lady kids.
No,
like,
no.
Y'all helping.
Yeah,
this is what we're doing. This is a family business.
Well, and at the I love that, right? The family business part, but at the same time, it's like they can contribute.
Absolutely.
I went to Star Wars Celebration and I spoke there, and we got these stickers to hand out, and it was like my daughter could cut every sticker. That's an hour of I'm doing it, or somebody else is going to do it, right?
Exactly.
And it's like she legit cut every sticker perfectly, and it was like it saved me an hour. And it was like to see her start to grow. She just mowed the lawn the other day, like a whole lawnmower, and she got it, and you could have seen how happy she was when she actually got it. And it's like that's that confidence that our kids are learning, that if you don't allow them to fail publicly, then you're just setting them up for failure for when they're 18. You're like, I'm at 0. It is a rat race, and I'm at 0 already.
Yeah, I have no idea how to navigate this because my parents isolated me over here to the kids' corner. So all you know how to do is be a kid.
Or did everything for them.
Or did everything
right?
for
That
that
helicopter
one.
pilot.
Oh man.
Oh, that opened up something.
Yeah, I'm just anti that so much. Because again, I'm raising humans. They are going to be my age one day. I need to teach them now because it's not going to sink in for another 5-10 years. So I might as well do it now while they're young and still trying to make their minds up. Because kids are going to get to the point where it's like, no, this is how I think, and that's it. I might as well have some kind of influence in that.
But at the same time, it's like as you're teaching them the family business, they're starting to see that what they contribute actually helps.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like
time.
they can take pride in that. And the pride that my daughter had from mowing the lawn, I was like, whoa. Right. And at 12 years old, I went and got my first business license. And it was like, I was 12. Right. So at 12 years old, if I can join the adult world, like, why can't our kids do that?
Exactly.
Like, they have the ability, and they may not be able to change the tire as fast as somebody else, but they can do it. And it's like, give them that opportunity, because they can not only contribute to the family business, but to themselves, right? They're growing just as much as we are.
Yep. Every day.
100%.
Yep.
You talked about failing publicly, and I that really hit home with me, because one of the I did a after high school, I lived and worked in Mexico, and the way that I learned Spanish the most was when my host father would basically push me into an uncomfortable position and speak Spanish. And it was like I was gonna suck at it. Like legit. But those sentences, those memories, those experiences, I remember more than anything that I ever learned in high school Spanish, right? And it's like the ability to put myself in a place where I could publicly fail and it could hurt, and the shame, right? The shame must sound like happy feet. But it was like, that is what I learned and I took with me, and it just made me that much better. So that the next time I went in and I ordered something, it was easier.
The confidence level just through the roof, because when you fail in the dark, you can keep failing in the dark, and that shame's not really there.
Sure.
But when you fail publicly and everybody's watching you and, cheering you on or not, it's like, oh man, I not only let myself down, I let y'all down. And I'm like, listen, man, like, it's a part of your story. Like, it's okay. Failing publicly is a part of your story. I want that. Because again, when I came out here and I was looking for problems, a lot of it was from people failing publicly. So there's value in that too. Like, my failure is going to teach somebody else. And it did.
This is your mentoring. Is that what you're talking about? Or
in a sense, yeah.
Okay.
So I had that space. I had this building, complex, right? I had 6-7 rooms in there full of artists, beat producers, filmmakers, all this, right? That loved what this was doing. This was building community. This was building standards in our music industry. Bet, right? When I failed, people that were in that building said, you know what, we're going to try this too. And they went out and rented their commercial space. And now they're running it in a similar way, but even better than I did. And they're doing great. Like, that's what it's about. So yeah, I failed publicly, but I kind of didn't. Like, I won. Like, those people in that building continue the legacy. Like, I'm a rapper. So on like first meeting, looking at me and I tell you I'm a rapper, you're probably not thinking that I deal with commercial real estate or at all, right? Or as far as, you know what I mean? But no, now it's like hip hop artists are out here leasing out spaces, building business plans, subleasing, understanding contracts, understanding lease agreements based off of my failure. Like, I won. Like it's solidified, and it wasn't on some like, I'm never on some like gloating stuff, but I understand my wins because my win is your win. Like, and we all win. That's it.
Yes, that's that ocean raising everybody up.
That's it.
Well, and it not only builds your own confidence, but it boosts your resume, right? Like the things that you've done, the things that are underneath your belt. But you're also able to share that with your kids now.
Yeah, and they seen it. They were there. They're helping me clean the studio. Yeah. Like they seen what happened to the studio. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and I go through the story with them too. They're well aware of everything. I don't listen. My kids probably gonna run the world. I'm not gonna lie. Everybody get in line. These kids are so self-aware on what's going on and so focused. Like before they go to school, I drop them off in school every day. Be focused, stay focused. What's the goal? Stay on task. Like they get the same thing from dad every morning, and they live it. I see them. I'm just saying, y'all watch out. Yes. Elijah Pearson, Mariah Pearson, ain't nothing to mess with. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. I'm raising some machines.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with my friend Matt yesterday, and we talked about one of the most important times as a parent is your drive to school, right? Because that's when your child opens up. You can learn things that you didn't know about. They can be honest with you. That's a great learning point. That's a great teaching point. Like I mean, that's anywhere from like 10 minutes to 45 minutes every day that you get with your kid that I didn't have.
Yeah,
I had to walk to school.
I was on a bus.
I was a block shy of the bus. So I was like, dang it. I was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah.
And, but at the same time, I'm not making this up. On my trip is how I walked into a convenience store and I went to Libby Junior High. And that is where I bought my first pack of baseball cards, and I started selling them out of my locker at Libby. And then I finally got busted for selling baseball cards.
Which is crazy.
Right. So then I had to go get a business license. But if I had not been walking to school, I wouldn't have gone into that grocery store or that convenience store. So it's funny what we learn along the way. But yes, it was a block shy. But I didn't have someone that I could open up to. But when I came home, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So I did have that ability to come home and actually connect with her. But it's like to be able to do that and give that to those kids is so amazing. You're blessed.
Huge. Thank you. I feel blessed. Truly. Yeah.
Dude, with your studio, what happened with your studio? Is that one of your hardest challenges, one of your hardest no's that you've had to navigate? Or is it continuing to grow and prosper from that?
That was at the time, because I went into a dark place after all that. It got to the point where I was at a standstill, like getting into that space and having an overhead and all these things. It was like, okay, I immediately went into survival mode, which is community cool, but I have to make enough money to sustain all this. And I was doing this full time. I didn't have any other income outside of music related stuff. So performances, recording, streams, that's it. So looking at the numbers, forecasting numbers, it was like, I'm gonna be under.
Sure.
I can't sustain this. And I also started to go under depression. My wife and I, it's crazy how this worked. As I'm at this downturn, my wife started this candy brand, La Pica Chica.
That was a good plug.
Who's doing great, right? Shout out La Pica Chica, everything, first of all. But we had got a food trailer to expand. So I'm on a decline here, but we're growing too fast over here because we couldn't sustain it. So all this is happening at once. And I'm just looking at it like I feel like I can't sustain anything. And then I just said, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. It's just not working. No, my life is not working. Like literally. So I just started to tell everybody, hey, we're going to I got out the lease early, like 2 years early. So that was also a hard conversation to have with the owner.
With the owner or the bank or okay.
Yeah, it was with the owner of the building. But I was honest with him. I was like, this was what's going on. So when they came and did the tour of the space, they just wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up.
Sure.
I took care of that space. I took care of it way more than a person did before the prior tenant. And they were like, you did amazing work here. I added like, there's additions in there. Yeah. They really appreciate that and let me out of that lease without any repercussions.
But it was a difficult conversation. Were you scared? Is that something that kept you up?
That was a lot of shame.
100%.
A ton. Like, I'm like, because again, like, I'm in Spokane where diversity is not a thing here.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I already walk into a room feeling like I'm probably one of the few interactions this person has with a black person.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be this outstanding citizen. Like, I have to go above and beyond to make this person feel comfortable with letting me lease out their space. So when it came to the conversation of getting out early, I'm like,
all the weight on you.
Oh, yeah, everything.
Yes.
Like, I just it sucked. It sucked. I felt like I let everybody down, right? And luckily he was like, you took care of this building, we good. But still, guilt, shame, all these things, publicly failing, knocked me over to the point where I didn't want to do anything.
This is epic. Public failure.
Yeah, this is huge because I built this name. I don't whatever about that, but like, I built this reputation.
100%.
That 100% of doing outstanding work, of confidence. This man could almost never fail type thing. At least I thought in my head, I can make these things up.
When was this?
This was early 2024, I think.
Okay.
Early last year. And yeah, it was a wrap. It was a wrap.
So you're heartbroken. You're feeling guilty. You're feeling the shame. But amazingly, your wife's business is flourishing, right? It's taking off.
It was in a weird. So the food, we had expanded to the food truck, right? And that seemed to go great until we looked at numbers.
It's amazing when you look at the number. You're like, whoa, what's going on?
It happens every year, right? Like, we make this
is that
much.
Missing
where
a
is
zero?
It?
Where?
Yeah,
I love that.
Where is this at, right?
Wouldn't it be cool? Just on a side note, wouldn't it be cool? Is at the end of the year when you do your taxes, you look and you're like, if I just hadn't had any bills, nothing, and I had exactly what I made.
Yeah,
you talk about starting out at zero, right? You're like, I'm already on third base, right? But that's for everybody. Everybody hates paying taxes. Everybody's like, you are where you're at. So you looked at the numbers. It was a hard reality check.
Numbers wasn't numbering, and we just, I always heard the term "don't grow too fast," but I never lived it. We lived it. I understand what growing too fast feels like, looks like, all that, and we did that with that trailer. Doing food business is expensive. Period. I don't care if it's digestible; it's expensive because there's a ton of licenses, as should be. There's a ton of licensing. There's certain ways you have to do things. There's certain ways you have to make things, temperature, all these things. And after putting all the numbers in, it's like, this isn't going to sustain us either. So it's like this is sloping down, and this is like shaky and about to and it ended up sloping down too. So it just felt like the whole world, no matter where I turned, just all at once.
So is this your rock bottom?
Yeah. Last year was my rock bottom, and
what happened?
Just lost. We ended up not doing the trailer, lost the building. This might have been late 2023, early 2024. I went back. I started working at Amazon for a little bit. And then
just picking up a income.
Yeah, something. Because
and you're not alone. People, it is so interesting. Like, it's like sometimes you can't be ashamed of that. It's like you got to do what you got to do to put food on the table, right, and make your payment, your rent, your mortgage, or anything. And it's like, and that let's call it that shame. There's nothing wrong with it, because you went after it. Okay.
It's a part of the journey. Like if that's the thing too. I tell the kids, if you want to be great, this is a part of that. Greatness is not just shiny armors and glitz and glamour and all this stuff. Like, nah, it get dark, and it got real dark. Like,
it sounds fast. It happened pretty quick.
Yeah, it felt like, and then it happened quick. But that darkness, I was there for it felt like forever. Where nothing was working at all. Like,
it's almost like a hitter slump, like in baseball, like where you keep striking out, and you want to get up to hit, but you're so afraid of failing again and again. That it's like you start the mental break and then the physical break are just there.
Yeah. That an analogy using pro athletes makes sense. That is public failure, and they get crucified at times. Being on TV, missing a pass, being on TV, missing a block, being on TV, missing a bucket, whatever it is, that's what this felt like. But it was for life.
And your kids.
And my kids watched it too. Not only they watched it, that's the part where it's like, but I'm dad, I gotta hold it down. I can't be in front of my kids shedding tears, all these things. As a father, a manly man, I gotta go to the bathroom and get these tears out. Like that's what it was. It was a lot of that. Because I didn't know what else to do. So it was, I got into meditating. I got into looking at my history. I got into like genetics, all that. Like why am I here? Why do I feel this way? I tried to answer all those questions reading books, to dig myself out. But yeah, luckily the answer was community though. It was when I talked to my homeboy James about all this. It was when I talked to my homeboy Jazz about what I'm going through and how I'm feeling. And they would invite me out. Like, you gotta get out the house. Like, that's just what it is. If it's a walk, if you need to call me, whatever these things are, like, let's make it happen. But again, just like we were talking about before we got on air, is you can't do this alone. None of this alone. There's a lot of that.
And that's mental and physical and everything. But it's like how awesome that you had a group of people around you that supported you and were like, you can do this. Let's say they didn't raise you up, but they did because they were behind you.
Yeah, they poured into my cup is how I say it. Like, I was empty. And that's how I felt at the building. I just felt empty. I kept pouring from an empty cup. And it's like, I felt like I wasn't receiving, the same amount back. So it's just like, I got nothing else to give. And at that point, again, I'm a father, I'm a husband. The whole shtick of being a father is provider. You hear that word a lot, and as a man, if you can't do that, it gets dark. And you're like, well, there's no point. It got that dark. What am I doing here then if I can't do this?
Who is telling you it's getting dark at this time? Like, do you know it? And does your wife talk to you? And like, she can't fill your bucket all, right? She can't fill it. So it's like you're in this dark place and you start meditating and you have friends that are helping you. But it's like, was there a trigger was it realizing like, okay, I'm at the bottom. How do I change my mindset? Do I change my perspective? Do I have a trigger that boosts me out of this? Do I just surround myself around people that I can learn from and that are supporting? Like, was it a combination of all of those things? Like, what was it that helped you get out of that deep, dark spot?
A lot of it was books because...
Would you love to read?
Right. It was books because it was like, I have an interesting relationship with my family. So it almost felt like I couldn't get the answers from them. So, and I started with that is because it's like, man, if my dad would have just read this book, if my dad would have just read Think and Grow Rich, we'd probably all be better off.
Yeah.
Or why didn't they go to a library? Like, I'm thinking of all these things of what my parents could have done, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. So
you didn't blame.
I didn't blame.
You took
I was
the
like,
initiative.
Yes. I was like, okay, what could they have done? Cool, I can do that. There's no excuse as to why I can't do this with all the information and content and videos that we have access to right now.
Yes.
Let's do the research here. Why am I feeling this way? And so I just went down a rabbit hole of all these things. And then in the end, I did get into like even now I'm taking somatic energy classes to understand psyche, to understand what it means to meditate, all these things of chakra. I'm reading these books. I think The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle was a powerful one for me. The Artist's Way was another powerful one for me, given to me from a friend that has gone through something similar.
Yeah.
Again, we can't do this alone.
Well, and you're not alone. Like
Right.
you not only can you not do it alone, but you're not the only person who's started a business and you had to close the doors.
That
You're
was a
not the
big one,
only
too.
person who's ever had twins. You're
Yeah.
not the only person who is
Yep.
a hip hop artist that didn't go viral or something like that.
Right.
You're not alone at your failures and
Right.
your rejections, but then you're also not alone because you have other people that can help you.
Yeah.
If you're willing to ask for that
Yeah,
help.
yeah. I was going through all these things, right? And was like, man, I'm about to shut down my business. Like I've had that LLC for around a decade.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, I didn't do anything with it because I still didn't know. But I had a mentor of mine tell me, I've been through like 20 LLCs. You're gonna be okay. Like it's again, it's paper. Simplify it. You're tripping over a piece of paper that you signed. I understand that. You will go through this again and you'll be okay. Sometimes it takes you 20, right? Sometimes it takes you 10. Like my wife, this is her first one. She's doing amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that luck. It's okay. That doesn't stop me from trying. You know what I mean? And again, I'm helping her every step of the way. But when I heard I'm on number 20, like you're talking about one.
Yeah.
Welcome to the welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, good for you.
Well, yeah, and but that is the power of a mentor.
Yes.
And I know that you're giving back to the community and like with your mentorship programs, but it's like and helping being on boards, and it's like being able to change the perspective of someone to realize that it's not the end of the world. It's not. I mean, it continues on, and I think what you hit on also is that school doesn't end the day that you graduate
At all.
right? It's like you every single day, you are learning something.
Yep.
And you had mentioned that it's like knowledge is at our fingertips now. We had to go to the library. We had to get out the encyclopedia or the dictionary. You had to go and apply for an internship to learn a specific skill or something. But what is available today, and I'm not encouraging all screen time on video games, but it's the amount of knowledge that is available to, and I don't care if you're in Calcutta or if you're in Brazil or anything, you have that knowledge at your fingertips that we don't have to start at zero. You can come out of the gates ahead.
Yeah. Now it just comes down to the work.
And doing the hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it now.
Well, and so then you start fresh, you're getting over this, you're coming out of this depression, you're coming out of this dark place. How are you now growing and realizing like, okay, it's not 20, it could be 21 for me, but it could be 12. Maybe I can do it faster than my mentor did, right? Like, what would you suggest to kids coming up who want to get into hip hop or who want to get into arts or land that great gig at the Knitting Factory here in Spokane or something like that? Like, how would you talk to kids now about getting into an art industry where you are that mentor who has failed those 20 times?
There's a website, crazy good website. It's called google.com. And then this website,
I didn't know where you were going to go.
This is a search bar. And I would go crazy on that.
Yeah.
I would go crazy on YouTube. This is a big one too. And this is when I was going through my dark spell and climbing out, this is what I did. I cleaned my Instagram. I stopped following a lot of pages that brought me no value.
Ooh, yeah.
And only followed pages that add value to what I wanted to do. Not entertainment. I don't do social media for entertainment. None of it. I don't do TikTok for entertainment. I don't do Instagram. I don't do none of that for entertainment. What am I going to learn on here? Follow that. And there's also bells and buttons that you can press to get notified when this person that adds pure value to what you want to do
Bring
posts
something new,
Bring something new.
or context.
I would focus up. Another thing that I would do too is if you're ever going after something and you don't want to jump out the window and just go head first, batch record or batch research or anything for a year. Don't do nothing publicly for a year and just lock it. Years are not a long time. It feels like forever, I know, but it's not a long time. And in the grand scheme, the grand calculus of the multiverse, it's not a long time.
It's not.
It's not.
It is. Or 2 years. Right? It's just
Even
a little.
2
It's
years.
just this little speck of time that you have. That
Yes.
it's like, and you feel the world is against you. You feel like it's
Yes.
not coming fast enough. But it's like the speaking world for me. As soon as I got into it, I was like, everybody's going to hire me as a public speaker. I'm like, yes. And it's like, who are you? Like, you have a cool name, but that's it. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it takes time to get that traction.
And you realize it's only about time. So I went to this booking conference that came to town, I think last year. It was for touring bands and artists and entertainers. And a guy, great guy, didn't have to say a word to me, but sat down, talked to me about everything. And this is the gem that he left me with. He said, it's not about the fact that you're here now. Don't come here trying to sell something. Don't come here trying to sell yourself. It's about, are you going to be here next year? Because everybody in this room knows each other. Everybody in this room comes here every year. We are locked in. You are an outsider. You just got here. So don't come in here trying to sell something this year. Are you going to be here next year and the year after that and the year after that? That's what it's about. It's not about now.
I love
What
that.
are you going to do next?
Well, and what value are you going to bring to the group?
Exactly,
Right?
because you're new. I have no value to add. Like, as far as I know, everybody's locked in and all the problems are solved. And I don't know. I'm the new guy, right? And he is not aware of how much that has changed my perspective on everything.
What's his name?
I wish I knew his name.
Okay.
I forgot his name. But
We'll call him Fred.
we'll call him Fred.
Okay.
He looked like a Fred.
I love that.
He looked like a Fred.
All
But shout out Fred. And
But, poor Fred. I want to say that you never know when or where you're going to meet somebody who could change your life.
easy. Yep.
You never know when or where you can change someone else's life.
Yeah.
And it's like, Fred will never know. He might be listening
know.
to this podcast out of our 166 subscribers,
Come on.
right? But he might be listening, and you might blow his mind with what
I
you're
hope
saying.
so.
I say that to my audiences all the time. It's like, tell people who have impacted you how they have helped shape or change your life or influenced you in some way, because we all want to know that we make a difference in this world. And I'm telling you, when people come up to me that I've known for 25 years, or they were a kid, like an athlete, and I showed them one thing and they're like, Blue, do you remember when you did this? I go, nope, but I'm glad it changed your life. Or remember when you sold me this? And we have the ability to change people's lives.
Easy.
And to be able to tell them that is pretty special, because you always want to be that recipient of that, and it just makes your day. And so, Fred, if you're listening, I hope you hear his story.
I hope he's Fred. I hope his name is Fred.
I do too.
That would be classic. Oh my God.
We're going to get a call.
It'd be
We're going to get
legendary.
banned if not. That is
Legendary.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to tell your past self one thing, what would that be to navigate your no?
That one thing. Man, it'll be something I already said. Add value everywhere you go. This world owes you nothing. You have birthrights, absolutely, but add value to every room. Don't be the guy just doing nothing in the corner. Add value. Period.
Wow, that's great, because we all have experiences and stories and knowledge that you can share and you can add value and you can't be afraid to do that. So I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love what you're doing because I love that you picked yourself up and you're a great dad, and I respect that so much. And I look up to you for that.
Honored.
Where can people find out more about you? And where can people look towards you? Because I know you have a lot coming up, and so it's like you haven't given up on the music industry.
Yeah.
Like, where can people find out more about you and follow and get maybe, like, let's say, your next album?
Yeah. On YouTube, we're growing a YouTube channel. We're trying to make videos and content of the journey. So youtube.com/TS The Solution. I post a lot on Instagram. Same thing. It's TS_the_solution. Underscore.
We'll write that in the comments for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the main channels. We're on TikTok. TS The Solution on TikTok. TS The Solution everywhere. We're on all streaming platforms. You know, we're in show season right now. So
what's coming up? What's the show that's popping up?
We're at my alma mater, Spokane Falls Community College. We're doing a show there next week, and then we'll be at the Museum of Culture, the MAC, next month.
They just had a samurai thing there, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We'll be there next month with Live from Somewhere. They got a concert series going on there. So to perform at the MAC is going to be cool.
Okay.
And then, we'll be in Seattle in August. Fremont Fridays. Yeah, we'll be all over.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a pleasure to hear your story, number one. And just for the audience to know, it's like you are an amazing person in our community, and you are bringing it up, because it's not only you, and you're bringing up other people. Absolutely. But it's like just your story about being in that dark place. You're not alone. And what that value of bringing out to other people and sharing your story and being authentic, you do that with your music, but you also do that with your family, and you're obviously doing that over the airwaves right now. So thank you for being a part of this, and thanks for joining me, and it's an honor to know you.
Likewise. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Stiley. Well, we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to Navigating No. If this episode brings you value, or you know someone who could benefit from it, the best way to support the show is by sharing and subscribing. It's completely free and helps us reach more people. And if you have any questions, feedback, or guests you'd like me to interview, drop a comment while you're there. I'd love to hear from you. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in. And let's continue sharing optimism and positivity.